Hello, everybody, and welcome back to a brand new episode of the 2021 SRX series here on NR2003. This weekend, we are at Slinger Raceway, joined by Jay Cook, as usual, in the booth here, getting ready to go for race number 5 of 6. We got 200 laps coming at you tonight. Unfortunately, we can't actually put in overtime if necessary, because 200 was as far as we could go. We have the Slinger National winner here in the field, and that is Luke Fenhouse in the grid. He is P3, getting ready to go green here with Bobby Labonte on pole alongside Greg Biffle. Haley Deegan here is in P4. Jay, we've done a little bit of testing at this track, and I think the most dangerous obstacle of all is actually going to be the pace car here tonight.
Yeah, just with a little bit of testing, we saw the pace car hauls around here and drives like a bit of a maniac. So it's very possible that we'll see the pace car do some crazy things, and it could be it could be the talk of the night if we have several cautions.
So with 200 laps here tonight, we are extending our normal heats and main race all by just double the amount. So our heats are going to be 50 laps each, and heat 1 ends when we hit lap 51, heat 2 ends when we hit lap 101, and then the race will end at the end of lap 200 going to 201. So the green flag comes out, and we are already underway. So these are going to be very, very quick laps. Jay, I don't think I've ever seen a professional racing series at such a short track. It only takes about 10 seconds to get around here, and you see how high banked these corners are. It's a very unique racetrack, and you're gonna have to be on it all night long and hitting your marks, because I can see it being very easy to get caught up in a mess here.
Yeah, it's such a unique track as well. It's such a different track. It's extremely short with very high banking, so the speeds around this track are high, and there's the ability to make lots of lanes work, as you're seeing right here. There's ability to make passes in lots of places on this track with this high banking. So this is certainly a different type of track that we've ever seen. I don't think I've ever seen a short track ever with this much banking.
Other than Bristol, maybe, right?
Oh
Oh,
yeah, aside from Bristol,
we got
a short
problems.
track not used for a national series.
The Slinger National winner's got some issues. No caution, by the way, because he just blew up is what happened. Very unfortunate. That's a awkward. Oh my goodness, Tony Stewart got lucky there. They do put out the caution now, and that's going to be the second straight race we have a caution very early on, and you got to watch out for that pace car here tonight here in Slinger, and you can see what we were talking about. That is the fastest pace car I've ever seen, but very unfortunate that the number 4 of Luke Fenhouse is going to be out here after an engine issue. My goodness, these guys are dangerous. Pollard Pace is going to come into the pit lane, and I believe so is Michael Waltrip. These guys are even very fast under caution here tonight. And Jay, I can easily see some guys going multiple laps down tonight, because these laps, I mean, a pace lap here is only going to be like 20 seconds.
Yeah, and if we have some guys pit and some guys stay out, they could wind up losing a lap or two even on pit road. So you're gonna have to be really picky with how you pit tonight, and maybe don't pit at all unless you see everybody else coming down pit road.
Camshaft issue is what it was there for Fenhouse. Very unfortunate for him. That is the second straight race where the kind of star car driver has run into some issues. So very unfortunate there. Already 10 laps complete, and you can see why we doubled the race amount, is we've been under caution for a half of those 10 laps just about already. And I believe the pace car is going to be coming in, turning his lights off right here. Yes, he is. So we're going to stick with it now. Greg Biffle up at the front of the pack. Willie T. Ribbs right there in behind him. One last episode, which at IRP, which I think surprised us all, Jay. I mean, he put together a great performance, and once again is coming up and backing it up so far here in Heat 1. I mean, of course, we've only run a few laps, but looking strong again tonight.
Yeah, there is a lot of racing left here at this track with a lot of things that can happen. So I'm fully expecting us to have at least one more car DNF, if not a couple more. I think these guys are going to run into each other quite a few times, and we're going to see some issues. We're going to see some wrecks. This track is almost designed to cause chaos.
Whoa, sideways there. The number 1 of Haley Deegan out of turn 2 made a tremendous save now, and actually moves past the 15 of Michael Waltrip. She's now moving up into the 7th spot behind Tony Stewart. Tony Stewart in the last episode DNF'd very early in that race, and so did Bill Elliott. So Stewart had a very unfortunate exit now, as you see Willie T going at it with Bill Elliott, and up at the very front. So Willie T lost second place to Paul Tracy, who's now putting some pressure on the back of Greg Biffle. Now the inside of Greg Biffle here, out of turns 2, down into turns 3, and now he's going to be able to make that pass. And Jay, I mean, we do see some Ultra Groove racing, but overall, I mean, it looks like so far the top line is really going to be king.
I've actually almost seen the opposite. I've seen the inside is very.
That's what I meant, inside, sorry.
Here. Yeah, I was going to say that the inside line looks extremely dominant compared to the outside line. So whoever gets to the inside, I think it almost seems like to me the person on the outside almost has no chance to get a run off the corner with how tight these corners are. So I think that the inside line is truly going to be the place to be.
You see Biffle now dropping down into the 4th position behind Bill Elliott. So already 20 laps in here in the SRX series from Slinger, which means just 31 laps to go here in this first and opening heat. These guys are going around here so quick, it is very hard to keep up. Tony Stewart now dropping some positions again. Labonte looks up the inside of him, makes a pass. I see some damage there on the side of Labonte, looking like he made some contact with the wall at some point that we might have missed, but there is so much going on and they're going so quick. It's hard with the eyes to even keep up here, but now up front again, Bill Elliott going to the front here. Just recently announced, Jay, in real life that he's going to be racing against his son, Chase Elliott, for the finale. I believe that's going to be at Nashville, if I'm not mistaken, for race number 6 of 6. So what do you make of that? The two Elliots are going to be going at it. I think that's definitely going to be a big storyline and a big moment for the SRX series.
Yeah, I think it's a really cool thing. It's also going to bring in some viewership, I believe, so that we might see that race have very good viewership compared to the other ones so far this season. So I think it'll be exciting to see. Hopefully Bill Elliott is able to have a clean race this time around, not have any car issues. He's had so many different mechanical issues so far in the 5 races that have been completed, or 4 races that have been completed, sorry.
Oh, we got trouble. Ernie Francis, Tony Stewart, Haley Diggin goes through the middle. Michael Waltrip around as well. And that is going to bring out the caution here. The first caution due to an incident. Second one on the night. The pace car is the next question. You can see him going through the pit lane at a high rate of speed. I believe we should have a speeding penalty for him. But he is going to get back on the track. And we're not going to waste any time. We're going to get a look at what just happened there, bringing up the caution here, already past the halfway point in the first opening heat here from Slinger. Here's a look at what happened. Michael Waltrip out of turns 2, gets sideways, hits Ernie Francis Jr., goes around Francis in the wall. Stewart gets a piece of it. Deegan slides right through the middle, and some damage to Stewart, of course, and Waltrip as well. Ernie Francis Jr. picks up some damage. His pace car was actually in the wall there as a caution came out. Now back to the live scene, already getting ready to go green again here from Slinger. Tony Stewart did come into the pit lane just after, oh, well, you know what? He's coming into the pit lane again, so this is going to be the second week in a row. Of course, Tony for sure is going to go a lap down, Jay, so he's had a rough couple of weeks here in the SRX series.
Yeah, it has not gone well for him the last 2 races. And certainly is not going to go well for him tonight. He's going to lose, if he does a full pit stop here, he's going to lose maybe his second lap. Never mind. He's going to get off pit road quicker than I thought he would. So, still only loses 1 lap. It might have been 2. I'm not sure how long he was on pit road. But either way, these lap times are so quick. Making a pit stop, especially under green flag conditions, is going to pretty much end your night.
Whoa, sideways there for Haley Deegan again. These guys are and girls are dealing with their cars just sliding out of turns 2, it seems like, specifically. So definitely something to keep an eye on throughout the rest of this race. Stewart does only remain 1 lap down here in this first heat. I mean, the one positive for Stewart is only heat 1, but he's going to have to remain here on that lead lap for the next 14, coming to 13 to go here in this first heat. Elio Castronenez, he's now gotten up into that second position. You see some damage there on the back of Waltrip. He, of course, was involved in that incident with Ernie Francis Jr. a few minutes ago. Now, as Greg Biffle having a rough go at it right now in that number 69 car. As you see up front, though, we got the 98 of Marco Andretti leading the way over Elio Castronenez. So, Jay, last time out, we saw Andretti was getting passed for the lead now by Castronenez, but we saw a lot of speed out of Marco Andretti, and we thought he was going to be a serious threat for the win, but he hit the wall too many times at IRP, taking that opportunity away.
Yeah, I still expect him to be strong again here tonight. Like I was saying last race, you know, he's gotten really good in this series. He's looked really strong as the series has went on. So as long as he's able to not have any issues again, I think we'll see him be strong again tonight. As he is falling back, though, Willie T is going to challenge him for second place.
Willie T. Ribs up into P2, clears him, no problem whatsoever. Elio Castronendo's trying to open up that gap now, 0.6 of a second. Haley Deegan on the charge back through the field. Feels like positions are constantly shuffling back and forth with just how this racetrack is, and I think that's going to be a thing we're seeing all night long here at Slinger. Now, as Tony Stewart continuing to maintain in front of these leaders. As speaking of leaders, Willie T. Ribs up into now the lead, but the caution actually just came out as you look at the pace car. Oh my goodness. Holy crap, look at that thing go. Have you ever?
That thing is a goodness gracious. Look at him. He's like one of those slot cars in the corners.
100.
That man is hauling.
I don't know. Oh my goodness. While they deal with that, let's get a look at what just brought out the caution here from Slinger. Back from Slinger. The pace car decided to pull off out of nowhere. And no one changed any positions, but all of a sudden, well, we just started now the final lap of Heat 1. And we don't know what's going on right now, but now Willie T. Ribs is going to come through actually to win the very first heat in Slinger as the pace car, I'm hoping, is going to slow down properly. Oh boy, he's oh, okay, you know what? I think we're good this time. Thank goodness. Yeah, he's finally slowing down. We don't know what was going on right there, but caution is out. Heat 1 is complete, and now let's get a look at what brought out that caution that didn't turn into a caution here from Slinger. Here's a look at it. Haley Deegan out of turn 2 comes together right there with Andretti, who got sideways in a big moment right there. They both get some damage. Deegan not a whole lot of damage, but Andretti took quite the hit there, and that would bring out the caution that didn't turn into a caution because the lap car or the pace car went and did all this the whole time. Now getting ready to go green for the start of the second heat. Now, Jay, this has been a wacky race so far, and I mean, we still have 145 to go as it crosses the line. We can only imagine what this is going to turn into.
This race has kind of been hard to keep up for us to keep up with, just with things happening and the cautions being so incredibly short here. The pace car doing really wacky things. These laps being really wacky. So you know, you look at it 150 laps, you think it's going to take a while. It's truly not. These laps are going to wind down super quick here.
Tony Stewart, by the way, is not leading. He was a lap down. Now back on the lead lap. He's going to need a caution to be legitimately on that lead lap. And here comes Paul Tracy up the inside. Someone got sideways in the background there. Greg Biffle, a good save there. He came together with Michael Waltrip. We're definitely, like I said, seeing a lot of drivers lose the back end of the cars. They're going to be 3 wide out of turns 2. Wow, these drivers are going at it here. Now, is there still 3 wide for a brief moment? That was Andretti, Haley Deegan, as well as Michael Waltrip now. So up at the front, though, Tony Stewart back to a lap down because Paul Tracy was able to find a way around him. So a lot of speed right now to that 13 from Paul Tracy. But all the action's going on right about the kind of mid-back part of the pack here. As we're seeing Elio Castronendo's kind of fall down the order now. But it is unbelievable just how quick these laps wind down. In Slinger, sideways in the background right there for the number 2 of Ernie Francis Jr. Now, as you see Haley Deegan side by side with Marco and Andretti. But yeah, I mean, Jay, now we see Stewart kind of trapped a lap down. Kind of surprising to see him get passed at a track like this by Paul Tracy.
Yeah, I did not expect Paul Tracy to be the person leading here. I truthfully would expect... Oh, as there's big issues for Marco Andretti. He's able to keep it clean, though, and we're not going to have a caution. But I did not expect Paul Tracy to be the one leading here, and I also did not expect him to be faster than Tony Stewart, as Tony is now losing a quote-unquote spot to Bill Elliott.
By the way, Andretti lost it out of turns 2 and hit the number 1 car again of Haley Deegan up front. Oh boy, we got a car up and over. That's Bobby Labonte. The pace car is going to come out. The caution, of course, is out, and we have had our very second, I think it is, flip in this series. That car does not look in good shape. Bobby Labonte, I'm pretty confident, is done for the day. As wow, what a race we are having here from Slinger. Let's immediately get a look at what just happened now, as it looks like the pace car is not out of control. So let's get a quick look. Here's a look at what happened. Out of turns to Labonte, gets sideways down into the 69 of Greg Biffle, and then, well, you see what happens there, and up and over goes Bobby Labonte, bringing out the caution here from Slinger. Back to the live scene once again. Jay, I mean, we saw that flip right there. We were just kind of mentioning it off camera, but definitely wouldn't be surprised if we ended up seeing a potential flip in real life, just by the way this track is built, and why, by the way, I mean, the type of crashes we could see could easily result in a flip if they hit the wall at the right angle.
Yeah, with how banked these corners are, it would not be surprising to see something like that happen. I don't know how common flips are at this track for some of the series that run here, but I have to feel that they're not the most uncommon thing at this track. You know, these speeds are pretty high here. A lot of potential for contact, and then obviously that banking being really high, especially right in the middle of those corners. I think it would lead potentially to some flips.
So now, Tony Stewart has another opportunity now to get back in front of Paul Tracy and hold on to the lead lap spot. Green flag is back out. Tracy leads the way through turns 1 and 2, and Stewart has that automatic advantage of being on the inside, but it's all up to, can he hold on to that? So he's got to manage it for about 27 more laps here if he wants to actually get that caution, get back on the lead lap. And now Greg Biffle is all of a sudden taking the lead. That just goes to show how quickly things change. Greg Biffle just door checked Bobby Labonte onto his roof 2 minutes ago, and now he just took the lead here in Slinger. In the background, you see Haley Deacon side by side with Castronenez right up in front of them. Bill Elliott got a little bit sideways there. That's been the main culprit of these incidents so far here today in Slingers. Just drivers losing the back end out of turns 2. Stewart once again. Oh boy, Ernie Francis just about had a moment, but Stewart once again back to being a lap down here now, but this time it's Greg Biffle taking the position from him, or not position, but the lap from him now. As we're seeing so many cars lose it out of turns 2. Jay, what in the world could be causing that? Is it just no grip there, maybe?
Maybe no grip. Maybe them. Oof. It really seems to be happening on the high side, so I'm just going to guess that there's no grip up there, or something. Maybe each of these drivers are just trying to be equally a super aggressive coming off turn 2, and it just winds up sending the car downward, or maybe it's an awkward angle with how the banking comes back onto the straightaway. I have no idea, but something is causing a lot of these drivers to have it, especially when they're on the outside line, and if there's a car to their inside, it's very likely they're going to make contact.
I will say Tony Stewart, though, who's been running up top's been looking pretty good when he comes through out of turns 2. And even right there, I mean, actually, everybody got through there that was on the top pretty well. So maybe it's like a short run thing. I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. Stewart's back down on that inside line. But up front, we got a battle here for the lead, and that is Greg Biffle versus Bill Elliott now as they come through across the line. Less than 20 laps to go already in Heat 2. And those laps are going to fly by very, very quick now. As you see that number 9 car trying to put the pressure on the back of the 69, but does he have enough time? He definitely has enough time, because he is already there going down into turn 3. Tony Stewart now making a move up the inside of Elio Castronenez, trying to work his way back onto that lead lap, and Bill Elliott will go through to take the lead, approaching just 15 laps to go in this race. Jay, I mean, a commanding drive right there from Bill Elliott, making up for last week when he DNF'd very early on in the very first incident of that race on like lap 4 it was. So a nice comeback for him so far here tonight in Slinger.
Certainly a very nice comeback for Bill Elliott, but you know, one thing I've noticed so far, Gary, is that this track, to me, even though it's nowhere near a play track, it almost kind of reminds me of a play track, because the bottom is extremely dominant. And it's almost like if you can find your way to the bottom, you're going to pass anybody in front of you. And if you're on the top, you're going to get freight trained. Even if there's no one on the bottom, you can be there for 2 corners, and all of a sudden somebody who's a second back of you is right up to your inside, and you have no chance to get back down until you're back towards the back of the pack. So this almost seems like a bit of a play track in a way, of the sense that there's a bit of a freight train going on. If you get to the outside, you're going to the back no matter what.
And already coming up on the final 10 laps here of Heat 2. Bill Elliott leading the way. Haley Deegan has now gotten up into that 3rd position. Tony Stewart looking like he's going to have to try again when the next caution comes up to get back on that lead lap. A lot of cars right around here together. Could see that going wrong very quick now. Is Ernie Francis Jr. trying to make a move up the inside of the 13 of Paul Tracy. And he is going to be successful with that attempt right there. As Billy T. Ribbs as well is going to try and follow through on the inside now. So, oh, a little bit sideways right there from Bill Elliott now is the 69, and Greg Biffle not falling too far back, so definitely can't count him out before this heat comes to a close. But here with just 6 laps to go, we get sideways again actually now, out of turns 2, and it's always turns 2, it's never really turn 4. It's really interesting to see how that happens now as he continues to lead the way. But there you see Haley Deegan. Jay, obviously she's not running the full schedule, but when she's doing races in real life, the one race she's done, she finished on the podium there in what, P3. So I mean, clearly she's definitely got a thing for this short track paved oval racing, as well as she seems to be showing a lot of potential.
Excuse me, holy crap. Yeah, she seems to be very good on short tracks. That was, you know, obviously the majority of the season that she had in K&N and Antarctica the last couple of years, and she was successful on those short tracks. So I think she's very good at these short tracks, and that's certainly where she runs the best. She's kind of struggled this year in the truck series, you know, getting to the bigger tracks, to the intermediate tracks constantly and all that kind of stuff. So I think it's more or less just her getting used to running bigger tracks. And when she goes back to short tracks, she's really able to show off her talent.
White flag in the air for heat number 2. Bill Elliott leads the way out of turns 2 down this back straightaway into turns 3. The caution will be out once they cross the line, and Bill Elliott wins the second heat here from Slinger. Pace car is going to haul the mail around. There he goes, and to the front of the pack, and maybe around one more time, actually. I can't tell, but a tremendous job right there by Bill Elliott. What we are going to do, though, is go for a very quick break and bring you guys back here from Slinger for the final 100 lap dash, or a little bit less than 100 laps, probably about just over 90 or so here, as we get ready for the main race. Back from Slinger, getting ready to go green for the final 94 lap dash here for the main race. Tony Stewart looking very slim in terms of his chances of getting back on the lead lap. Now he's going to have a caution as we get ready to go green, with Bill Elliott leading the field as the green flag is back out. So Jay, I mean, we've had the cautions, but Stewart has not been in the position each time that they have come out, so it seems like his chances are getting slimmer and slimmer as the race goes on, as he does move back onto that lead lap briefly.
Yeah, he essentially is going to need a caution to come out within the first 3 or 4 laps of a restart, when he's able to use that inside line to his advantage before he winds up getting passed just based solely on speed. I don't think he has a very fast car at the moment, considering the fact that he's given that inside line advantage, gets himself a gap to the leaders, and is passed within a couple of laps. So he needs a caution extremely quickly after these restarts. Otherwise, he's just going to wind up doing the same thing over and over again. Get out in front of them, be on the lead lap for a couple laps, and then get past.
I think he's going to need that caution within a lap here, because Ernie Francis Jr., the leader, is right on the back of him, and here comes Bill Elliott as well as they come through out of turns 2, and I don't think that caution is coming anytime soon. Elliott clears Francis for the lead and is already to the back again of Tony Stewart. So Stewart in need of a caution any second now. But I don't know if he is going to quite get it, because there goes Bill Elliott to the inside of him through turns 1 and out of turns 2, and Bill Elliott once again puts Tony Stewart back a lap down in Slinger. Unfortunate for Tony, he's been trapped a lap down for the majority of this race, so it's going to be very hard for him to make that back up. Paul Tracy back now into second place after passing Ernie Francis, and Cash Renev's running pretty strong there in that 4th position. Then you got Marco Andretti running in P5, as you got this little battle going on right here with Waltrip, as well as Greg Biffle and that number 17, last episode's winner of Willie T. Ribs. And now Cash Renev's moves through and moves up into that 3rd position. I mean, a solid job. Cash Renev's has been kind of quiet tonight, Jay, but he's been doing a solid job remaining up towards the top 5 all race long, and now he's moving up towards the top 3, maybe saving his stuff. I don't think they're going to be pitting again in this race, so he might have been saving his stuff and now might be able to make a late race charge here.
Yeah, we haven't seen him run up front yet, aside from the couple laps he was up there battling with Marco towards the end of the 1st heat, I believe. So, you know, it's possible he was just kind of figuring this track out for a bit, and now he's really going to want to go and attack these leaders here. But at the moment, Bill Elliott does look extremely strong, and so does Paul Tracy.
Yeah, Bill Elliott now half a second in front of that number 13 of Paul Tracy, and Andretti got a little bit sideways right there. He's actually running down Cash Renev's. But it's been a little bit since we've actually seen someone get sideways and cause an incident. I think it's been the longest we've gone all night. And here goes now Paul Tracy up the inside right there of Elliott. And I mean, completes the pass within 1 corner. So now 80 or 79 laps to go in this race, and Paul Tracy, the Canadian, who we saw lead a little bit earlier, moves back into that commanding front spot here from Slinger now, as we're seeing Hailie Deegan put some pressure on Marco Andretti. We saw these two come together a couple times already in one caution earlier, and then Andretti got into the side of her again a little bit later. Didn't cause the crash the second time around, but Andretti's been having a bit of a rough night, to say the least, here, as you see Tracy now pulling away, and all of a sudden, Jay, I mean, it's unbelievable how quickly you can see a car fall off, because now you look at Bill Elliott, he's under pressure from Elio Castroneves, who's going to easily get around him here.
Yeah, I still think that's kind of, kind of the bit of the freight train effect I was talking about, where once you kind of get past, you almost seem like you get stuck on the high side, and you just start falling back and keep on falling back as well. So I think that, these guys who are up front, if they get past, they're going to have to find their way back towards the front, because they're inevitably going to wind up somewhere back in the pack.
And there you see Andretti right behind that number 9 of Bill Elliott. Castroneves gained some time last time around, and then this lap he loses about half a tenth of a second. And now Elliott's actually putting the pressure back to him. So, I mean, just going back and forth. And, I mean, at this point, Jay, I mean, you don't want to be doing this. You don't want to be battling it out for second place. Of course, you want to get up into second. You know how quick this race is going to be. But at the same time, you know that when you're battling it out like that, you're just allowing Paul Tracy to run away at this point.
I don't think we're going to see that much battling, though, for positions tonight, just because of how insanely dominant the inside line is. Whoever's on the inside will make easy work the person they're outside within a lap, probably. So you really want to find yourself on that inside line at the right time.
And we did see Bill Elliott close up the gap a little bit there that last time by, and again, now down to 7/10 of a second. Already less than 70 laps to go. It feels like we'll give a quick lap update, and then next time we do, it's already like 30 extra laps in. Now, as we see Andretti up into third place, Castroneves now seems to be falling off. Oh, bit of a moment right there for the 17 of Willie T. Ribs, but fortunately doesn't turn into any type of incident there. Now, as Castroneves is under attack from him on the exit of turns 2, and everybody's still pretty good right now. As you see, Tracy 8.5 tenths of a second that last time around, now just 8 tenths, so we lost half a tenth. But Bill Elliott needs to get a bit of a move on it here, but he's still got plenty of time. It's kind of weird. They got a lot of laps, but I guess not as much time as it seems, Jay, when it comes to this racetrack.
Yeah, you still look up at that board and you think, oh, there's over 60 laps to go. That's not very fast here at Slinger, with these laps only lasting about 10 seconds each. That's going to go by super quick, so you really need to make your moves quickly. And if you want to put pressure on that front of the field, you know, or at least on that leader, you gotta do it now, because you're running out of time very fast.
And there, sideways out of turns 2 goes Marco Andretti. We're starting to see a few more cars kind of kick out of turns 2. Bill Elliott now less than half a second back though from Paul Tracy, as Andretti's trying to get up into it. Willie T going for a bit of a power slide out of turns 2 as well. Michael Waltrip joining in on the fun, as you're trying to see Tracy open that gap back up, now 7 tenths of a second. They're kind of going back and forth, where Elliott will gain a good chunk of ground. Tracy will pull away a lap later, because this time around, well, you saw Elliott just close in 2 tenths of a second, and is looking even closer this time around, though, as it comes through turn 3 and out of turn 4. He's definitely closer, half a second, and now just barely over 3 tenths, so the pressure is on from Bill Elliott there for that front spot on Paul Tracy. Now, as you look through the rest of the field, everything's looking clean. Tony Stewart, Jay, just downright looks slow. He's now gotten passed by the last guy on the lead lap of Michael Waltrip, so he's just having a downright terrible night here in Slinger.
Yeah, he is definitely struggling with car performance. Something has gone wrong with that car. At any time that we get a green flag run, he really does lose a lot of time. So I think even if he were able to somehow find himself back onto the lead lap, he would not be able to race that well for position.
And there you see Tracy continuing to lead the way. Hailie Deegan makes a move up the inside of Willie T there through 3 and 4. So Paul Tracy, if he keeps doing what he's doing right there, he's going to be able to hold on, I think. But now we're seeing a bit of a charge here from Hailie Deegan. She is 2.4 seconds back the last time around. This time around, it is going to be 2.2 seconds back. So definitely don't count her out either. Bill Elliott seems to be falling off a little bit, especially this lap, because now he's under pressure from that 98 of Marco Andretti. And then that gap stayed about 2.2 seconds for that one car. Willie T. Rips just behind her, and then Ernie Francis Jr. in the mix now, but it's definitely interesting here. I mean, Jay, if Tracy keeps running that bottom, I don't see how anyone's going to be able to get past him at this point now, unless they maybe get aggressive, use the bumper on him.
Yeah, Bill Elliott is able to, get up right up there to him, and if he's able to go to the inside like he is here, he may be able to grab that advantage.
Oh.
Yeah, Paul Tracy's going to be slow off of turn 4 as they're going out of turn 1. Bill Elliott will have the advantage on the inside.
So as I'm talking about, it's going to be hard to pass Paul Tracy. He's going to get past and lose the lead here. Now is Bill Elliott to the front within the final 50 laps already of this race. Not much time left to go at all. And I mean, just look how fast those gaps get built up, but they can also lose that gap just as quick now. As you see, Willie G, Ribs, Ernie Francis Jr., Elio Castro, Hernandez, Greg Biffle, Tony Stewart's moving his way back forwards all of a sudden as Michael Waltrip's falling in behind him. But of course, keep in mind, Stewart is a lap down, and it's not over for the lead because Paul Tracy's going to make a move up the inside of Bill Elliott there, and sure enough, he goes back to the lead, and now Elliott down into second place. So Jay, it seems like these two guys honestly overall seem to have pretty equal cars. It's all just about who seems to be in the best rhythm at a specific time.
Yeah, I was waiting for Tracy to kind of slip back there, as we've seen so many drivers do tonight when they lose the lead, but that did not happen at all, and he went right back at Bill Elliott after a couple laps and took the lead from him. So I think that clearly shows how good of a car he has, how good he is at this racetrack, as now Bill Elliott is falling under attack from Marco Andretti.
Yeah, well, he was, but then immediately just pulls away again. It's unbelievable how this track is working and just putting on a race now, as we have a little bit over 40 laps to go from Slinger. Will it stay green the whole way? I'd be surprised if it does, based off of the first two heats of the night, but you never know. It might stay green now as Elliott's trying to once again get to the back of Paul Tracy. But yeah, Hailie Deegan trying to make a move now to the back, or to the inside potentially, of Marco Andretti into turns 1. 40 laps to go. We'll be coming up on there. Hailie gets sideways, so does Willie G and Ernie Francis Jr. Now, as you see, Stewart again is actually dropped in behind Michael Waltrip now. As Jay, I don't know if we expected this. I never really thought about this, but lap traffic is going to play a role in this race if it stays green, and we have no idea how that's going to work out, and that could play a whole new dynamic here because Tracy's only about one full set of corners away from Tony Stewart, and as well as Michael Waltrip.
Yeah, I think he'll be able to catch Tony Stewart, but it seems like those two actually are pretty equal on pace, and it seems like they are the slowest cars of the night, Michael Waltrip and both Tony Stewart. So I think that we could maybe see them catch the lap cars right towards the end of this race. I don't know if they'll catch them anywhere anytime soon. So it's highly possible they wind up affecting the outcome of this race. And yeah, I don't know how they're going to handle getting past them either. With the way this track is, you need to be on the inside, and the outside is extremely, extremely slow. So it's possible that if those lap cars sit on the inside, the leaders may not have room to get around.
And look who's closing in on second place of Bill Elliott. We got Hailie Deegan coming up into the mix. Willie G's going to get past Marco Andretti, and Deegan is consistently closing the gap to the leader. Oh boy, that just got pretty close right there. And through turns 3, out of turns 4, Hailie Deegan is going to move up into the second runner-up position. A great charge forwards again from her as she goes into turns 3, trying to close that gap to the leader of Paul Tracy there, as he is closing in a little bit more. He's got maybe 2 seconds or so to lap traffic now here from Slinger. So it's going to be close on time, just over 30 laps to go. And now we're seeing Hailie Deegan make this late race charge, and she loses a little bit of time there. But Jay, I mean, putting together a great race she is, and we know she has the speed, and maybe she was saving her tires as well for a late race charge.
Yeah, it's possible that she was, just kind of hanging back for this entire green flag run, and all of a sudden come out of nowhere, and she's kind of starting to make her way up towards Paul Tracy. But I still just don't know if she's going to be able to get past and stay past Paul Tracy. His car has looked extremely, extremely good tonight.
There you see the gap right there as Tracy continues to lead the way. It was 1.39 seconds at the line there as Deegan's trying to find something, but it's going to be very hard for her to run down that number 13 car. So it went from 1.39 to 1.40, so lost just about a hundredth of a second that last time around. Just over 25 laps remaining in this race, and now she gained that 100th back, so it's back to 1.39. And there you see Michael Waltrip that's going to be potentially a race-changing obstacle for Paul Tracy. It could be, at least, if he does get there. So Deegan gains another 100th of a second. Obviously, Jay, with 25 laps to go, Slinger, hundredths of a second isn't going to get anywhere at this rate. It's going to take at least 148 laps or something like that for it to even get there.
Yeah, she's going to need to start gaining a lot quicker than that. She got past Bill Elliott, but then Bill has been able to hang with her this entire time. So maybe she used a little bit too much of her tires up to get up here to second place, and now maybe she's starting to fall off a tiny bit. You know, it looked like Bill was going to go for it there for a second, but he wasn't able to make the pass into turn 3.
She gained a 10th right there. So it's definitely not over Bill Elliott. He's definitely getting aggressive right now. And there he goes to the inside of the number 1 into turns 1 and 2. Bill Elliott, sure enough, back into second place. But obviously, them battling loses a little bit of time now, 1.67 seconds back as they crossed the line last time by now 1.53. So Elliott's going to have to get a move on with it, because I'm starting to believe they're not going to get to Michael Waltrip now. Paul Tracy is, but you never know, as Bill has once again gained some ground, and now Deegan is starting to fall down to about 4th place of Willie T. Ribbs. So she's in danger of falling off of the podium as Bill Elliott closes about another 0.5 of a second, with 18 coming to 17 laps to go. But what's the situation here with the lap cars? We look at onboard there, and you can see it's about a straightaway difference. Is the straightaway going to be made up here in 17 laps?
I don't think it will be. I think that Paul Tracy is going to avoid having to deal with those lap cars unless Michael Waltrip suddenly really falls off the pace. Or has some kind of issue to where it slows him down, and Paul Tracy is really able to gain time on him. But if everything stays clean, I don't think we're going to see Paul catch him.
Another 1/10 of a second right there out of the lead. 15 coming to 14 laps to go. 1.27 now to 1.16, so another 10th right there from Bill Elliott. Willie T sliding out of the corners now, and now, I mean, Bill might have saved his tires the best of anyone, because he does lose a little bit of ground right there that lap, but we'll see what he can do this time around through turns 3 and 4, already approaching the final 10 laps of the race, and actually loses some more time again. So I mean, if you're Bill Elliott, Jay, you're hoping that Paul gets to lap traffic and gets held up by them.
Yeah, and even if he does catch up to the lap traffic, I think it'll only be with a couple laps to go at this point. It seems like Paul Tracy is starting to catch Michael Waltrip a lot quicker than I was expecting. He just gained 3/10 on him that lap. So he is catching him a little bit quicker than I was expecting. And if Paul Tracy does things like that, that might allow Bill Elliott to catch up as well.
9 laps to go from Slinger. 1.5 seconds Tracy has over Bill Elliott. So, I mean, it's looking very unlikely now as something is going to have to go wrong for that number 13 here. Or Waltrip is going to have to slam on the brakes or something, as now, Elliott's sideways out of turns 2. His chances are falling ways. He's now fading to about 2 seconds or so behind, now 1.8. So unfortunate to see Elliott fade so hard when he was trying to make one late charge, but no one's had anything right here for the 13 of Paul Tracy coming to the final 5 laps. He has gotten to the back of Michael Waltrip. This is really Bill Elliott's only chance, but even if he gets held up 4 laps, he's not going to be able to make up 2 seconds. So very tough situation there for Elliott now. I mean, you know what could take Tracy out is if Michael Waltrip loses that out of turn 2 and cleans out Paul Tracy. There's always an opportunity for that to happen here with 4 laps to go. And you can see Jay Waltrip's definitely not going to make it easy for Tracy to pass him here in these final few laps. He wants to remain on that lead lap.
Yeah, he's certainly going to plant himself on that inside line and not give Paul Tracy the easy line around. So Paul is going to have to work if he wants to get around Michael, but at this point I think he just needs to not be too aggressive and just kind of sit behind him, because especially with those 2 racing the way they are, he's under no threat at the moment.
Willie T up into second, and by the way, they're racing, coming to the white flag here in Slinger, but Paul was still pulling away even when he was stuck behind Waltrip right there, and sure enough, out of turns 2, down the back straightaway, into turns 3, and into turns 4, down the front straightaway. Paul Tracy wins in Slinger and holds off Bill Elliott and Willie T. Ribbs, who got Bill Elliott there at the last few laps there for the runner-up second place position. So Willie T wins last episode and backs it up with a runner-up second place finish in Slinger. Michael Waltrip, Tony Stewart, they end up a lap down. Luke Fenhouse, the local guy, star car driver, DNFs early on from a camshaft issue, and of course the number 18 of Bobby Labonte went up and over on his roof earlier in this event. Overall, Jay, I mean a tremendous race here from the SRX series. I think we got to see a lot of action tonight. I mean, we saw a car go up and over. We saw the pace car going crazy. I mean, just overall a good race here from Slinger, and now leaving just one race left on the schedule.
Yeah, this track, with the with how different it is, brings in a lot of different factors for this race, and so it was certainly exciting and fun to watch, and also provided something new for me to see. Aside from Bristol being used in the Cup Series, and I still would call this track different from Bristol as well, because Bristol is just kind of banked all the way around. Even though these straightaways here are still kind of banked, they're almost flat. So they go from an almost flat straightaway into a very banked corner, and it makes these lap times incredibly fast, and it makes these corner speeds incredibly fast for these short track cars. So I think that made the race even more wild as well. And I kind of wish we would have had multi-groove racing here. If we would have had the outside line work, I really think we would have seen some guys making some aggressive passes. But that inside line was just way too dominant.
Going to be interesting to see if the multi groove racing is going to be a thing in real life this weekend. But as always, if you guys enjoyed, you know what to do. That's going to do it for us. Just one race remains here in our NR 2003 2021 SRX season, and that'll be coming up next weekend. I believe it is at Nashville. So thank you all for taking the time out of your day to watch, and we'll see you guys in the season finale next weekend. Have a great day, everybody.